When you think of Italy, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Probably ancient ruins, right? Renaissance art, incredible food, these timeless landscapes. And look, that's all true. But what we're going to do is pull back the curtain on a much more complex story that's unfolding right now. A story of a nation grappling with its deep, ancient past while hurtling toward a very different future.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll see how even the oldest parts of Italy are being seen in brand new ways. Then, we'll switch gears and look at the huge pressures facing modern Italian society. After that, we'll uncover a really surprising wave of AI innovation. And finally, we'll explore how new passions are literally reshaping the country.
All right, so let's kick things off with the Italy we all think we know, the one full of history and tradition. But there's a twist here. We're seeing how people are finding these really innovative ways to engage with that ancient heritage, making it feel completely fresh.
And where else would you start but Rome? It was just crowned the world's #1 city to explore on foot. I mean, one source called it a literal open-air museum. And it makes sense, right? They looked at everything from the sheer amount of history to walkability and safety, and Rome came out on top.
And this isn't just a Rome thing, not by a long shot. As a whole country, Italy came in second place globally, right behind Spain, for having the best cities for walking. We're talking 8 different cities in the top 100. So that appeal for just immersing yourself in the streets is a nationwide phenomenon.
And it gets even cooler than just walking. Check out these initiatives. There's a project run completely by volunteers that's opened up over 100 historic sites after dark. Imagine that, a totally different vibe. At the same time, you've got these new slow-travel train routes popping up, designed to let you just soak in the journey through places like Tuscany and Umbria.
Okay, but behind that idyllic tourist experience, there's a completely different story playing out. While millions of visitors are exploring Italy's past, a lot of the people who actually live there are facing some pretty immense pressure, really struggling to build a secure future. And this right here really captures that struggle. It's the path to citizenship for a non-EU resident. Just look at the timeline. You have to live and work in Italy for a full decade just to get to the point where you're eligible to apply. And then, the wait for an actual decision could be another 10 years, or even longer.
So here's the crucial part. During all that time, these residents are working, they're paying taxes, they're often doing essential jobs in farming, construction, and taking care of the elderly. And yet, they have no voice. They can't vote. One source made this really powerful comparison to Italian women before 1946. They are, for all intents and purposes, politically invisible.
Here's another pressure point that might surprise you. The summer school holiday. It's 3 months long. And for working families, that tradition has become this huge source of stress. So much so that there's a 40% jump in parents needing psychological support for burnout and anxiety during the summer.
Now, all these challenges feed into Italy's bigger demographic story. You've probably heard that Italy has one of the lowest birth rates in the world. But what's interesting is that reports show the issue isn't that people don't want to have kids, the desire is there. The reality, though, is that systemic barriers, things like economic insecurity and a lack of affordable childcare, are holding them back.
So, with all these deep systemic challenges, where does Italy go from here? Well, one answer is pretty surprising, and it has nothing to do with the past. Despite its ancient image, Italy is actually becoming an unexpected leader in one of the most futuristic fields out there: artificial intelligence. Okay, so check this out. An Italian company called Translated is at the helm of one of Europe's most ambitious AI projects. It's called DPVs, which basically means by different paths, I solve many problems. And the goal is huge, to build an AI that doesn't just crunch data, but can actually see, hear, and interact with the physical world around it. So, what does that actually let you do? Well, imagine an AI that can be in a noisy, crowded party and follow one single conversation. Not just by listening, but by watching body language and using spatial audio to figure out who is talking to whom. It's a total game changer. Or let's scale that way up. Think about an AI that could take in live data from drones, satellites, and sensors on the ground all at once to predict something like a flood with way more accuracy than we can today. It's about creating AI that has real situational awareness.
And this innovation isn't just happening in a vacuum. It's transforming healthcare.
There's another Italian-developed AI tool that can look at neurological data and predict the onset of diseases like Alzheimer's. The result? A 2-year head start. That is a massive, massive leap for early intervention and treatment.
Okay, for our last piece of the puzzle, let's see how all these different forces, social change, new tech, are actually leaving their mark, physically changing daily life and even the Italian landscape itself.
So, on the land, there was this huge win for conservation recently, with the creation of the Matese National Park. This thing is massive, 880 square kilometers. It protects a vital biodiversity hotspot in the Apennine Mountains, a place that's home to wolves and golden eagles, and it acts as a critical link between different ecosystems.
You can even see these changes showing up on the dinner table. Get this, blueberry production in Italy has tripled since 2015. Tripled. But here's the crazy part. They're actually exporting less of them than they used to. Why? Because domestic demand has just exploded. Italians are eating them faster than they can grow them.
And speaking of explosions, just look at the racket sport Padel. It's completely taken over. In just a few years, Italy has become the second biggest market for the sport in the entire world, building over 10,000 courts. The area around Rome has the most, but Milan is where the growth is just off the charts. It's a genuine cultural phenomenon.
So when you put all these different threads together, you've got ancient paths being walked in new ways. You've got this painful struggle for citizenship. You've got cutting-edge AI. And then this sudden craze for blueberries and Padel. It all leaves us with this one big central question. How does a country that is so defined by its deep, visible past manage to balance that with a future that is arriving so incredibly fast and so powerfully